Yeah. Hi guys. Let me try that again. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Sassy Sunbell. I'm Breezy, and welcome to my podcast. Um, Today we're gonna be doing some reactions to some shows that are back on, and I thought, why not, right? We're also gonna be talking about a particular song that I recently discovered. Um, Now the first one we're gonna talk about. Get ready, guys. This one's gonna be a long one. Tell Me Lies, season 3 dots. Now, I've only seen a little bit of the first half of episode 6, so don't spoil it for me. But I love Tell Me Lies. I really do. And here's the thing. Season 1, Lucy, I want to strangle her. Season 2, Lucy, I want to choke her for making stupid decisions. And season 3, Lucy, I just want to hug her. I really do. I know that sounds silly and crazy, but I just really want to hug Lucy. She needs a hug right now. And honestly, I'm kind of here for Alex, not gonna lie. But anyway, let's talk about Bray and Wrigley first. So I have some thoughts wrote down because I have a lot of these. But okay, can we talk about the bus stop scene for a second? Yes, it was like, okay, maybe something is starting to happen, maybe. But they were so cute together. It was like, okay, I can't be mad about this. I love it so much. Then he takes her to Jersey to see her mom. And I love how, like, he's the only one she's confiding in about all this right now. Then he teaches her how to swim, for crying out loud. Yeah. Then we see the two of them hanging out in a room, and you can see, like, they're becoming friends and just hanging out with each other. But, like, as the show progresses, like, it's always like, wait, did something happen between them? Right? Um, and then there's the look at the wedding. Yes. That confirms something did happen between them. And then leads my next question. What happened between them? What happened? I really want to know the answer. And what did Bree do to make her a bad person? I'm very curious on that one. I really do. Oh my gosh. But also, let's talk about Wrigley now for a second. Okay. I liked Wrigley in the first 2 seasons. Wasn't a fan of him, but I liked him. He was a good comic relief. But this season, I think it's the haircut. I really do think it's the haircut. Whoever's like, let's film this guy with a haircut was a creative genius. I really think so, in all honesty. I really do. But like, we don't see him in the room anymore, and he's not wanting to deal with that room anymore. Obviously, why? Because your brother died in that OD'd in that room, for crying out loud. And his parents are basically blaming him, and he's going through all that stuff. And Steven's still trying to play a victim card. And Wrigley just calls him out on it, and I am loving it. And he's just not wanting to deal with Steven anymore, and I'm here for it. Um, then that first interaction between Bree and Wrigley at the wedding makes a lot of sense now, though, if you go back and look at it. It really does. Oh my goodness. Then I love how the season he's putting Steven in his place every single time. We'll get to Steven here in a second. That's a long one. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now let's talk about the Satan himself. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I think Steven used to be an honorary J name. Yes, y'all know what I mean when I say that. Steven needs to be an honorary J name. And I want to strangle him so bad. I really do. Like, at Date the Writers got together, they were like, let's see how much we can make people hate this guy even more. And I heard that the books took it light on him. It's like, I don't want the books to take it light on him. That's why would they put us through that trauma if they're gonna do that? Really? Megan Oppenheimer, I have a question for you in the end. I'm gonna need you to answer. But a few questions. Why is he still in the room? Like he's not freaked out by it. He was the one who inadvertently was the cause Drew's death to begin with, so of course he doesn't feel anything, right? And then what's with this? The writers go ahead giving him a new victim. Seriously, that's that's messed up right there, honestly. And I will notice, um, I have noticed this new victim slightly resembles Lydia. Interesting. I guess the writers are foreshadowing something. Then there's making Lucy record that video. Lucy, at this point, just tell Bree. Please, at this point, you should have just told Bree instead of having to make that video for him to hold it against you for the rest of your life. You have poor decision making skills, girl. And they're sending pictures of Diana to her dad. That is morally screwed up. Screwed up bad. And the icing on the cake was he was flabbergasted when Lucy chose Bree over him. Face it, Stephen. People like Bree over you, and it's your own fault. Quit playing the victim here. He's too much of a narcissist, and Lucy is the victim, I will say that. But also, I love that Diana played him like a fiddle. It was so perfect. Diana, we'll get to you in a second. With that look on your face when you found out she played you. Icing on the cake. Icing on the cake. Okay, and how does Steven still have friends at this point? Can someone please explain to me that one? What that means, how did he get invited to the wedding? Like, it literally makes no sense whatsoever. You could tell, like, everybody's done with him. Even Pippa and Bree are done with him. They never liked him to begin with. Um, how did he end up with Lydia? That's what I want to know. Um, also, my next question I got answered at the beginning of the episode, so I need to finish. But anyway, love. I loved when Diana said, "Aborting your baby will be the highlight of my year." Love it, Diana. You are a queen. Stephen, I have no pity for you. Now, Wrigley and Evan are so done with him that it's so obvious. You can tell. Like, how does he still have friends at this point? Is what I want to know. How does he keep getting girls at this point? Right? It makes no sense whatsoever. Um, then there's like he pretended to take Molly so he could trick Lucy into confessing and sleeping with Evan. That's just screwed up. He also probably created that Facebook group as well. Stephen is diabolical, and I hope he gets the karma that is coming to him. I really do. Now let's move on to Lucy and Alex. Honestly, you know that one scene? I would have followed Alex out of that bar too. I am not gonna lie, y'all. Alex is hot. And then I found out he's Australian, which makes him even hotter. What can I say? I love a guy with dark eyes and dark hair. And that's probably one of my vices. One of my types, maybe? I don't know. Maybe. Okay, but seriously though, the way he treats Lucy after finding out what happened, he's so caring with her, so gentle. And he tries to be a good guy for her. He really does. He's also super sexy as hell. I am not gonna lie. He is extremely attractive. Extremely. Then we have also, I'll be honest with y'all, I'm kind of jealous of Lucy being with Alex in a way because I want to be with Alex. That's the only reason. Don't judge me, okay? If y'all know, y'all know. Then we're gonna talk. Now I'm gonna talk about the character who has some very poor decision making skills. Lucy. The best decision she did was choosing Bree over Steven. Good for you, girl. Now, if you could just be honest with her, and instead of you stupidly recording yourself to Steven and him making her change the reason why she did it, she's scared of him, it's obvious, and he feeds off fear. And I love how she puts him in his place at the wedding. It's like, it is evident you will never change for anybody. And there's something very satisfying about that. My girl, Lucy, you're stronger than we all thought. But she is also making stupid decisions. And I love the bonding moment that she has with Diana. She is also foreshadowing that is developing self harm tendencies, I can tell. And I want to talk about that last scene briefly for a minute. Like, what the hell? Honey, go to therapy, please. Please go to therapy. This guy is not worth the harm he is doing to you. He's not. I could tell you what to do with him, but that wouldn't be very ladylike me. Um, so, but why is it always in the shower when she decides to go to Alex's place? You notice that? Also, her relationship with Alex is going to substitute her. I think her relationship with Alex is more of a way to keep her from self harming than it is anything. And as much as I love her with Alex, I really think she does need that therapy to keep her from self harming and all of that. And I really want to know what's going to happen, like with her self harming, like where the writer is taking this. I still believe she should have told Brie. She really should have. But I love how she puts Steven in his place, and I am here for it. Poor Max. Poor Max. Mm. Good guy. I think he's a safety net for her. I really do. And he's a good guy. I think he's just her safety net. He treats her better than Steven, that's for sure. Like, you could truly tell the parallels. Now, let's move on to the next couple that surprisingly I like, Pippa and Diana. Of course, Pippa is still Wrigley at this point, so that's how their relationship kind of developed. And I love the way that she is supportive of Diane's decision to abort Steven's baby, and after she had the baby, she was there for her. There for her. Well, aborted the baby. My bad. Um, sorry, my throat is kind of sore right now. And then the two of them deserve to be happy. Like, as much hell as Steven put them both through, because he's inadvertently the reason why everything's happening, everything all goes back to Steven. He wants to play the victim, but he's not the victim. He's not. He's the puppet master, and everybody else is just his puppet. Okay. Let's talk about Pippa. Okay. I wasn't sure how to feel about Pippa at first. I really wasn't. But this season, like, she really does deserve to be happy. After all the hell she went through because of the whole Drew situation, that was overtly Steven's fault. But he will never admit that. No. And I think Diana will realize that, and that's when their plot revenge will begin. Um, but she feels her relationship. But I have a feeling now, like, she feels that her relationship with Wrigley is kind of a crutch for her. Like, she feels guilty. She really does. Like, she likes him. I think they're better off as friends than they are dating, honestly. Um, but she has gone through a lot mentally. Like, her backstory a little bit from what we gather, yeah. But she also knows that Wrigley is in love with Bree. I feel like the fact that it's obvious at the wedding, she knows it, and I wonder when she catches on to that. I really do. But I think the truth about Steven being the driver about the car is gonna come out really soon. And I think that drives her hatred for him even more, because she hates that guy with a passion. Honestly, I don't blame you. The Bachelor joint scene? Yeah. And I also believe that her trauma could have been avoided if Steven would have just confessed. I know. I'm on a 15-minute tangent about Steven. I know. I know. That's what this guy does to me. But I'm glad she is not blonde this season. I'm glad she's getting back to her normal. And I think this is coming into her own, so I think it's gonna work out perfectly for her. Now, let's talk about the Queen, Diana. But yeah. Um, Absolutely Queen. I love how she got in the yell. And I love how she told Steven that she actually aced the yell, so how she played him like a little fiddle. It was chef's kiss watching her tell Steven, aborting your baby will be the highlight of my year. I also love how she's happy with Pippa. And she's slowly bonding with Lucy. I think it's just a girl thing. Like, they both dated Steven, so it's like they know how that feels. I also like how she calls Lucy out for her poor decision making skills. No, she's trying to Molly, and I don't blame her for that decision whatsoever. Now, let's talk about Brie real quick. She is my favorite character. I love how sweet and caring she is. She's so gentle. And the way that Oliver gaslights her by calling her needy. I think Oliver is her Steven. I really do. And Oliver is the example of what Steven can become. It's the sad part. Um, Also, the way she went to see her mom, you could tell she was still on edge. I've been there, girl. I have. Trust me. My bio mom showed that to my graduation. I had a lot of anxiety about that. I also do believe, while we're on the topic of her mom, real quick, that her mom is going to show up. I don't think, but it's not going to show, but I think her mom, she's going to pretend she's okay, but I think it will mess her up even more. And I think Wrigley will be the one who spots it and goes to make her feel better about it. Honestly. Also, she was rage baiting Wrigley. I'm like, girl, make your mind up, please. I love you, but please make your mind up. Also, I don't think she already knew about Evan and Lucy because when she got that voice message, it was just like, she knew. She didn't show any reaction. But also, she's pregnant, but is it by Wrigley or is it by Evan? I'm just very curious on that one. And the way she put Steven in her place at the wedding. Chef's kiss. And the way she gives him that look as she's walking down the aisle, like, I won, you didn't. And I just want to know, what the hell did she do? What the hell did she do? Also, I think Evan is also security for her, honestly. I really do. Because think about how she grew up. I really think it's like a security blanket for her. Also, let's talk about Evan now. See, I think he's the nicer version of Steven. This season is obvious. He's the nicer version of Steven, like you can truly tell. But I liked him in seasons 1 and 2. He got manipulated by Oliver. I love how he also paid for Sadie's school, which makes him own Steven, which I love even more. And I love how he smugly tells Steven that Diana is pregnant. Evan, really? But thank you. Also, we're on the topic. Wrigley, you're making me love you even more and more this season. You really are. But anyway, back to Evan real quick. It needs to be. He also needs to officially end things with Molly, as Wrigley tells him, like, really, thank you, Wrigley, thank you. I mean, who would thought you would voice a reason this season? And he does truly love Brie, and it's obvious in season 3 that. But I think Steven. It's obvious in season 3 that he is Steven, but does not appear to be. Like I think that's also why he keeps Steven around. Cause like, I know how. Like, if I keep him around, it makes me the nice guy. But he's over Steven's crap, that's for sure. And why did he invite Steven to the wedding? Why? Okay, here's my questions, okay? Okay, then we'll move on to my thoughts real quick, okay? Um, how did he get invited to the wedding? No, seriously, how? I want to know. And also, why does he still have friends at this point? How? Okay, so does Wrigley secretly handle Oliver? Is what I want to know. Also, what did Steven do to make Lucy barely survive sophomore year? And does Lucy's confession ever get out? Um, Also, does that result in her possibly self-harming herself even more? And how does Lucy and Bree find out about Pippa and Diana? Because you had to tell, like, it was originally already. They should have known by now. Wrigley knew for sure. But I also wonder, was the phone a trap for Steven? I really do. Also, who's the father of Bree's baby? I think it will more likely be Evan. But I don't know. I don't know if the writers are gonna complicate it and make it Wrigley's. But how did Leah and Steven start dating? I want to know. And what happens to Alex? Does that freshman Amanda come back to haunt Bree? Does she? Does Oliver and Marianne get found or reported? I really want to know this answer because that's just messed up what they're doing. Who's Bree's dad? We see her mom, so I'm just curious to see who her father is. Does her mom actually show up? I personally don't think so, but we'll have to see. Um, who made the first movie with Bree and Wrigley is what I want to know as well. Now, how does Wrigley find out about Diana and Pippa? Because he knew he had known long before that party. Now, does Steven get the karma he deserves? I really hope the series ends with him finally getting his karma. I really do. And I'm not going to feel bad for anything bad that happens to him because he doesn't deserve my kindness. He really doesn't. Does Molly get even at Evan? Does he? Does she? And does Sadie cut off all contact with Steven? Because I feel like that would be amazing for Sadie to cut off all contact with her mom. All contact with Steven. I feel like that would be amazing. And why didn't Bree tell Pippa about Oliver? I'm curious about that. I know she told Lucy, but why didn't she tell Pippa? Aren't they friends? Can Steven just go to hell already? Can he? That would make my day so much better. Now here are my thoughts on this season so far. Jackson, you play a hell of a Steven. I will say that. Like, like I heard you were a completely nice guy, and like the fact that you had to play him and you've admitted that, so, like you deserve a Grammy for that role. You really do. Grace, you need to be in a movie with Sabrina Carpenter and McKenna Grace as siblings. You really do. Also, imagine a movie with Shailene Woodley and Grace doing some sort of movie together. That would be funny and amazing. And the haircut is doing it for Wrigley for me. Not gonna lie. I also would have followed Alex out of that bar. And the name Steven should be an honorary J name. And I just really hate the name Steven now. It was just funny because I have an uncle and a friend's husband whose name is Steven. And they're both really nice guys. That's the crazy part. But we all know a Steven. And if you know a Steven, please get out. Please stay safe and get out while you can. You guys, your safety is more important than some guy. It really is. Now that I spent literally like 20 minutes talking about Tell Me Lies, I have no shame in that one. I had to start off with that one. I really did. I really. But anyway, um, let's talk about Benedict. That's right. We're gonna be talking about Bridgerton season 4, part 1 dots. As you know, it came out literally last week, I think. And maybe I could have watched it all in one setting. I ain't gonna lie, there's no maybe to it. I did watch it all in one setting. Which leads me to the reason why I had to talk about Benedict first. So he meets Sophie at a masquerade. He doesn't know it's her yet. And he is so focused on her lips, but like the whole time I'm thinking, you couldn't tell when you spent those days with her that that was her. You couldn't. Well, you. But does he not realize that Sophie is the girl he's looking for? Like, make it make sense, please. Um. Also, we thought you were going to get together, but then you ask her to be your mistress. You don't even ask her that in the book. You ask her to be your forever. Why change it in the show? Why, writers? Why? Do you want to do that to us? But he also spent all that time with her in the countryside and did not put two and two together. Really? And I love how Violet is making him take the social season more seriously. Like you could tell, poor mama, poor Mama Bridgerton. She's over all her children. She just wants them to get their act together. I really do. She's already having to deal with a girl who's trying to debut early and she can't. Now let's talk about Sophie real quick. We'll get to Highsmith in a second. But I love her backstory. It's definitely Cinderella vibes this season for sure. She's in love with Benedict, but she's not going to admit that. And she will never admit to being too scared to tell him and tell him she is the person. Now, she does not know that her stepmom and sisters are moving next door. That's what we get at the very end of the season, part one. So, spoiler. She wanted Benedict to confess he knew who she was. And I think Violet knows, or will eventually put two and two together. While we're on the topic of Violet, let's talk about her now. Let her have a moment of happiness. And she got her evening tea. That's all I'm saying on that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, but she needs to get her children to get their crap together. She really knew. In the way she knew Hyacinth was listening into a conversation. She's dealing with a rake of a son who refuses to try and get a rake of a son, a daughter who refuses to try and get a husband, and a daughter who wants to debut to society so bad. Now, let's talk about Eloise for a second. Now, I know Eloise wants to be a spinster, but I don't think she realizes the realities of being a spinster yet. Which is, I think, why Violet was making her chaperone those classes with Highsmith is to make understand the reality of what will happen if you are a spinster. I really do. And I think Violet purposely knew what those lessons would work. And I love how she gets clocked by her sister every time. Now, I think she enjoyed Scotland, but I don't think it was what she imagined it to be, honestly. Um, And I also love how excited she was to be back in Mayfair because she got to be around people and talk to them. And I love the scene with her and Penelope and Benedict. Like you can tell her and Penelope are no sister-in-laws. You can really tell. Um, Also, I love the scene where she makes the face. You guys know the scene. Yes. How many of us have related? Yep. Now, Tyson, I know she's ready to debut, and I know she's been my favorite this season. She's always been my favorite. Her personality is a young Violet to me. And I love how she clogs her sister for making her try to change her mind, and she's way too eager and adorable this season. Now, let's talk about some couples real quick. Yes, we've got to talk about some couples this season. Um, and that is Colin and Penelope. Start off with, they're just a happy couple, like they're enjoying married life. In a way, Colin was disgusted by having a mistress, like you knew. He was in love with Penelope. I think it's the redhead effect. Um, but Penelope is loving being a Bridgerton. And she's also made a wager that Benedict is not going to marry this season. Now let's talk about Francesca and John. I'm just gonna say I don't like the whole Michael being Michaela situation. I really don't. Stick to the original, please. Don't take creative liberties. Please don't. But she loves being married. You can tell. And she wants children. And the scene where there's an inside joke with Penelope makes me love it. And I think that really set Eloise off a little bit. And she wants to achieve her pinnacle. Oh my gosh. Also, the way she saw Michaela, and I think she's happy to be back in Mayfair, honestly. Let's talk about Lady Danbury now. She just wants a break. She is the Queen's best friend. And she didn't host the post bar, which I will feel is gonna foreshadow her stepping back from society. Um Queen Charlotte for a second. In the scene where Queen Charlotte tells Lady Danbury no. Why does I feel like that's something me and my best friend would do? Jonesy, if I love you, but you know this is what will happen. And you can feel the loneliness that the queen has. Okay, now let's rank the Bridgerton couples, shall we? Because we have to, right? The first one, let's do it 4-1. Coming in at number 4, Benedict and Sophie. It's giving. Cinderella vibes, if I'm being honest. Also, number three, Colin and Penelope. I love a good friends to lover trope. I can't help it. Then there's Daphne and Simon. I love a good fake dating to actually loving to lovers trope. I really do. Then my favorite trope of all, haters to lovers, Anthony and Kate. Anthony and Kate, my bad. Let me get my proper names sounding out. Anthony and Kate. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But also here's my thoughts. On this season so far. Benedict is an idiot. Is giving Cinderella vibes. And Sophie deserves her shot at happiness. And I love that Violet is finally getting her tea. Um, there's also the May Wars, which I'm very fascinated with because there's actually a lot. It's actually more interesting than a lot of people realize. Because May's carried it. Are the backbone basically. And I also think that Penelope is pregnant again. Um, and the way Fed has treated Varley, terrible, terrible, terrible. Also, I think maybe Highsmith's future relationship may be similar to Daphne's debut situation. Maybe. Or they could be actually get along quite well, so but I think it's gonna be similar to Daphne's. Because I think Highsmith does his sh- like is a lot like Daphne in some ways. And I think part two is going to show Eloise attempting to put forth some effort now that she's seen the reality. Um, I also think she's going to understand that reality of it. And Violet will have a smile that she knew what she was doing. It's like I knew the whole time. Now let's move on to 911 season 9 dolls. What the hell? What the actual hell? Okay, can we get past we're gonna get past the whole space scene. I don't know why that had to happen, but anyway. But Harry's working at a 118, which I love, and he's very eager. You can tell. Um, then Christopher getting kidnapped by Abigail, who has an unhealthy attachment to Eddie. Yes, I had to combine those two dolls. Eddie, why not? Why didn't you teach your kid that? Please tell me. Not to get in a vehicle with someone you barely know. Why? Why? But I love Christopher. He's so sweet, so amazing. Now here's the question: are they gonna kill Hen off? Because I just want to know. Because I hope not. I lost a look. I lost so many tears when we lost Bobby. Yeah, cried so many tears over that one. Also, I'm gonna say this one too because Chimney's nightmare that had a Dina and it cracked me up laughing. Like this episode was really funny. I will say that. And the buddy cannon just needs to hurry up and happen. Please let it happen. And I think A's gonna. And I wonder if it's gonna be near the end of the season. I hope not. I need my buddy cannon to happen. I really do. Um. Then there's Hen making Chimney realize he's acting like Gerald. Yep. I already said his face. Mm. And I love how Robbie's basically being a third wheel to Buddy. I really do. It is hilarious. Um, also Buck is went out with a couple who is believed to be siblings, but turns out to be married. Oh my gosh, that's just hilarious on that part. At least he had enough decency and respect to turn that down. Also, Athena coming around Harry becoming a firefighter. Amazing, but her reaction to him dropping out of school, I don't blame her, honestly. Then there was Maddie and Chimney's being a happy married couple, and I love it. And then Chimney firing Hen, which granted should have, but Hen also should have came forward with her illness as well. And why are they leaving us on a cliffhanger until day 28? Writers, why do you want to torture me like that? Why do you have to torture me like that at all? Alright. Now, let's talk about 911 Nashville. Look, I'm trying to give 911 Nashville a fighting chance. I really am. But you can tell The writers have never been to Nashville. Never. And I get that's Hollywood, but still, make it more predictable. Make it more believable if you're gonna do that. But they are trying to make Dawn the new Bobby. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still heartbroken over Bobby's death from 911 in Los Angeles, right? Now there's also recycled storylines, that's for sure. And Dixie's getting on my nerves. I will say that. Then there was Blue and Taylor's relationship. I don't know how I feel about that one just yet. I really don't. Then there's Ryan and Sam, who are separated and back together, then getting a dog and cat whose name is Smokey the Bandit, which I thought was really cute, actually. A really clever play on the writers. And then there's Liv understandably being jealous of Dixie and Dawn. Then there's Cammy's grief journey. I feel so bad for her. But the fact that Blythe puts her in her place makes it even better. Because she tells her, like, you talked to his voicemail. And I sense there may be a future relationship with the FBI agent in the future, maybe. And I'm hoping that this is one of those shows that once you get past season 2, then once you get past season 1, it gets better. I'm hoping it's just one of those shows. But Kaylee Rose, she's a country artist. She has a song called Red Flags Don't Turn Green, which I love, which leads me to talk about some red flags or green flags. Insisting on splitting the check. Depends on the situation for me. But if you're constantly insistent, just be honest. Like, say, hey, I can't afford this, so can we please split it? Swearing a lot. It would depend on the swear words, but not really a red flag for me. I grew up in a family unfiltered, so yeah. Having lots of tattoos and piercings, again, not a red flag for me. I have a tattoo. Why would I get ordering off the menu for you? Okay, red flag unless I tell you ahead of time what my order is. That's the only exception. I have to tell you ahead of time what my order is if I'm going to be late. Calling you pet names most of the time. Red flag. I hate pet names with a passion. And if you can't respect my boundary on that, please understand that. Cleaning your room when you're not home. Cleaning your bedroom when you're not home. Green flag. Clean the room. I don't care. Speaking politely about an ex. Don't sugarcoat your ex, honey. Please don't. Um, asking to have your phone password. Look, if I trust you, you have my phone password at the end of the day. Posting multiple photos of you on social media a week. Yes and no. Red flag to the point where it's a bit excessive, or green flag to the point where it's cute and flattering at first. Then showing up at your work unannounced. Depends on the situation. It really does. But that is it for this episode. Join me next time as I talk about who knows what.